grab it. This one here. At the moment. So the very first thing I want to do is get as much of the snow out of here as possible. Quite limited. I gotta do this by hand and not bring a shovel. But there's not that much of this stuff, so it's not really an issue. It's more of a wet glove situation. Leave it fine. The stuff will melt. There. That looks good to me. Snow is picking up again. Another thing worthy noting is that if the wind is coming up from behind you, having this covered up by a little bit of snow does not hurt. It just prevents the wind from getting through. So this is my first time setting up the Polish Lavvu. Not the lightest tent, but it is a canvas. It is fire resistant. Like I said, my first setup, not perfect by any means, but watch me go. Just cover this up as much as possible, and I just want to get some wood already because it got cold just now, seriously, and she's howling. Got a nice microphone cover on there today, so you shouldn't be hearing too much wind. Just my beautiful voice. And my beautiful voice. It's just me and my Lavvu. Love it. Let's get rid of the excess snow from the entrance here. And there's also a fire pit. Now this fire pit is full. So, how do we even start a fire in something like this? Well, we begin by building a solid base. All right, let's get started. So I must say, I'm happy to find out that someone, a good Samaritan, had left a 2x2 and a 2x3 behind. So I was quick to hack those up because those things are dried up. They're cedar. I'll be burning that up first. I'll have some hot fire today, that's for sure. This is great. I mean, I got enough wood to get started. I'll have to get a lot more, but looking good. order to get a good fire going, you need a good fire starter. This stuff is all over the place, okay? You can just pick it right off a dead tree and it burns like nothing else, okay? So it's very hard to start a fire with what you got lying around. Most of it's soaked. This, however, you can throw it in a lake, leave it there overnight, wake up in the morning, take it out of the water, shake it off, stick it in the fireplace, and it will still burn. That's the beauty of this. And let me tell you how easy that is. So we've started our kindling. The kindling won't start, everything is just soaked. Stick this stuff underneath. No ferro rod, I'm too cold for that. Although it probably warm me up. But once this stuff gets going, there's no stopping it. Wet. Burn, damn you! Why aren't you burning? And it will burn. This stuff is like throwing fuel into the fire. It will definitely work. I said somebody was nice enough to leave a 2x3 behind. I will not let it go to waste. I will be using this wood. It's hard to come by as it is. And this stuff was off the ground, completely dry. I'm not letting it go to waste, that's for sure. I have one problem with my Lavvu today. I'm getting completely smoked out. So I don't know if you can see the smoke, but it just keeps coming back in here. I guess closer to the ground is not as bad, but I'm not laying down on that. I got no blanket with me. All I got is this chair. Let me tell you, this is going to be one cold night if I end up staying like this. Whew. I may yet again have to move this shelter. Whew. So yeah, big problem. I'm a much bigger fan of camping with a hot stove. Way better. This is an issue, to say the least. Many years ago when we came here, we're sitting by the fire just on the peninsula right over there. I'll drop this in the video if I remember to take the shot. And in the middle of the night, my dog started barking at me, actually, of all things. I went to get some wood, and I turned off my flashlight as I was coming back for a little bit, then I turned it back on. He saw it, and he started barking up the storm. Across the lake, a bunch of wolves started howling, and this started with a single howl. It was like a strong alpha. Right after that, maybe 10-15 wolves start howling simultaneously, okay? All of a sudden, there's so much yelping and so much just noise. It sounded as if they're having a major brawl, okay? Which lasted for maybe about 2-3 minutes. When it was over, there was another alpha howl, and the whole thing was over. It was the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, it acts as a smoke catcher. That's what that is. That's a smoke catcher and a half. So The backup plan to the Lavvu was this. You've seen this before on my previous camping trip. This tent impressed the crap out of me. Okay, we're gonna have to edit that one out. Other than the inner tent being a little bit too small, which I didn't bring this time, there's no need. I've learned my lesson. This thing performs quite well. So, I know I'm not gonna freeze tonight. Look, I am pretty impressed with the product, I have to say. Alright, let's see. Open the door. There's a mosquito net. Also. So this tent here, this happens to be my second time out with it. And I think I'm getting better. Sure, I'm definitely getting better at this. I think I may have to stretch this out a little bit more. And now for the start of the show. A new acquisition. This is the 3M stove or 3W stove, Wild Wild West or whatever. I've only put this thing together once at home. They do require some gloves. This is really sharp material, FYI. This is a titanium stove. Very light construction. Hence the wobbliness, but I don't mind it. This does not add too much weight to my backpack, and I appreciate it just for that. Not a long walk today, but I am planning to take this thing on some backcountry trips in springtime. I'm sure in winter as well. Because of that, it needs to be lightweight. You fold this thing over, it's just a thin piece of metal, and I mean so sharp. Be careful, especially out in the cold, because your wound will not want to close out here. Okay, it's the blood does not coagulate and you bleed. You could bleed out in the cold, so just be careful. This will be the one piece I will be assembling like so. When it comes to the pipe, I believe it is smart to put the gloves on. A lot of moving stuff, especially when you're doing it on your own. So yeah, so you see? And then the damper just slides into that cavity there. And that's your damper. So the pipe comes packaged like this, and I mean gloves, I cannot stress this enough. Put them on. And it comes with these little rings that you just slide over the top of it and you roll it up. I'm going to hold on to those in my hand. I'm going to let this unroll. Just watch this. Okay, so what you want is you want this as straight as possible. And what I've realized to do is to start rolling from one corner, like so. Get a nice little roll going, and then slide those guys right on. Okay? I've been playing with this at home. There wasn't any snow then, and you just start rolling, okay? As you roll, you want to twist, like so. So you're becoming lengthwise. And at the same time, once again, wear gloves, but space these guys out to hold whatever you're done with in place already. You see how that's staying put? Pretty much the same idea. So we want to keep on twisting and straightening this out as we go. This is doable. They say it's a two-man job. I think it's totally doable one person. Takes a little bit of practice. This has never been used before. Hopefully I don't destroy it in this snow. And now we start unwinding the other side. And as we do that, slide these guys over like I said earlier, and then just start twisting. And as you twist, the pipe straightens out. This was a lot easier on a sturdy, straight floor. I don't have the luxury today. We have snow. Look at that, we almost got a pipe going. Very thin, very sharp. Extremely careful with this. Once again, gloves. Good leather gloves. And now, she's almost ready. It's a matter of spacing out these rings properly, and I'm twisting it into position. Look at that. One person job, and they said it couldn't be done. Yes, it can. This has never been used before. If you're wondering whether or not this is going to be possible for you, I say yes, this is definitely possible. Okay, there it is, assembled right here. Bang. Now, let's push this big pipe through. Oh yeah, forgot about this guy here. So they say the pipe has to go on the outside of it, meaning this little guy needs to fit inside. I think that's what they said in the video. Good folks at Luxe. This is one part which I'm still having some issues with, and this here would be the damper. So I'm going to put that in there like that, and that is our damper. It just slides in and out like so. Lots of smoke. Well, I guess that's because my damper's fully in. Ooh, I'm sure you can hear that. Yeah, I guess it's just a matter of figuring out how much dampening I truly need. But yeah, impressive little stove. I mean, it went from nothing to that in just 1 second, right? Pretty cool. Let's try to dampen it just a tiny. This pipe is getting red hot. It's important to keep the temperature down a little bit. And this thing is just smoking hot right now. Look at it. Look at that pipe. So what you do is you close the damper, poof, and all the heat stays inside the box.